Being a child care provider, you are making such a difference in the lives of the child and their family, and the rewards are amazing.
The biggest joy I have is making sure that the children have got a good head start in life.
In family child care, you can be play-based or you can be Montessori, just like a group center, and it's probably the best job I ever had besides Wiesen.
I have Debbie's Little Chuggers Daycare in Prairie du Chien. I've been doing it, it'll be 41 years in December. I started it when my girls were little. I worked at a department store and that closed, so then I decided to get into it and stay home with them, and I found out that I really liked it, so I'm here yet today. I could be home with them and still watch other children, and they had children to play with and do other activities with.
I have Just for Kids Child Care Center in Prairie du Chien, and I opened on June 1st, 1989, and this is my 33rd year. It's been very rewarding. I've taken care of hundreds and hundreds of children.
My name is Gracie Ferris. I am a volunteer here at Grace for Kids Learning Center. The part that I really work with is the scheduling, and that's just making sure that we're not overscheduled. We have between 8 and 9 kids every day. Morning's more like a preschool or a learning, school learning time, and then the afternoon's more of a playtime.
Family child care is done usually one provider. Some providers have an assistant or somebody else come in and help, usually done in a home setting, and the license usually is up to eight kids, but that varies depending on their ages. And a group center is usually done outside of a home in a building with more kids, more teachers, more staffing.
There are so many resources out there for anyone that's interested in becoming a licensed provider. The support system is out there, the information.
Wiesen works with family and group child care centers. All of our coaches are, if we're family coaches, we were a family provider, and the group coaches were in group centers.
Everybody on our staff comes from the field of early care and education. We were all either center directors or family child care providers ourselves. So when we connect with providers in the field, we have that experience of running that program ourselves.
We provide a lot of different services to help people that want to start their own childcare business. We do provide certification services, so anyone who wants to start a family childcare in their own home can become a certified provider. We walk through the process with them step by step so that it is not overwhelming.
Wisconsin Early Childhood Association essentially exists in order to help support and meet the needs of both individual early childhood educators and early childhood education program operators, owners, directors. Our work is to provide access to any and all resources and services so that individual educators feel like they're going the direction they want to go in this field, and programs feel as though they've got all the possible resources available to them. Childcare is a critically important career in our state. It is definitely needed for our economy and for our communities to be thriving and livable.
There are so many resources out there, and it's not something that I think would be intimidating for new providers. And to be honest with you, there is a great need for new child care providers.
With all of the extra supports and the funding, this is probably a wonderful time to go into childcare. There's so much out there that was never there before. We need everybody who is thinking about opening a center to check into it and go for it.
Childcare is a critically important career in our state. It is definitely needed for our economy and for our communities to be thriving and livable.
Without childcare, there can't be a workforce. We often refer to childcare as the workforce behind the workforce. So without that, all other businesses are impacted.
The community-wide shortage of childcare, which is a nationwide challenge currently, and we're seeing that right here.
It's a huge problem right now, I feel like, especially here. And we get a lot of calls every week that parents want to bring their kid
child care providers. I wish we had a lot more of them. We just don't have enough of them. So for employers, that's a huge concern because you want to bring someone into your company or you want to hire people. They have to have somebody to take care of the kids. And we want kids to be taken care of in places that are safe for them to be.
So we have anywhere between 8 and 9 kids a day. We're licensed up to 9 kids, but we have about 16 kids enrolled in the whole program. And then they come different days of the week, so we only have 9 per day.
I can have up to 8 depending on the ages. I have usually 5 or 6. Sometimes less.
Families are obviously impacted by the reduction in care as they're looking for childcare. They're really finding it difficult, especially to place those infants and toddlers, those younger ages.
In order for a father with a 2-year-old or a mother with a 2-year-old to go to work, somebody has to have their children. Someone has to be watching that 2-year-old and providing an enriching environment and loving care and attention, right? That happens in our child care system in Wisconsin. So for that parent to get to work that day, the same way they may need to drive down a road, the same way they may need to cross a bridge, they need to have access to child care infrastructure.
Families are facing some really difficult choices about how they're going to live their life based on the child care availability.
It's a very integral part of the whole development of our communities.
I think we're at a crossroads right now, identifying how to increase the labor force, create family-friendly work environments, ensure that our children are cared for so we can go to work and know that they're safe and in a good place, and be able to pay for that.
People are starting to understand childcare is that economic necessity, and businesses are starting to look at it as a benefit that they may need to offer their employees in order to recruit and retain an effective workforce.
I think it's not just 1 or 2 people, but it's the community really coming together, and I think that's a vocal point with everything, is that it's not just one entity or another, but it's the group, it's the community coming together because they want to change it, they want to make it better.
Wisconsin's workforce, especially individuals with young children in their home, need to have access to child care in order to work.
The workforce that supports the Wisconsin workforce. These are the individuals who make it possible for a lot of people in Wisconsin, all the parents in Wisconsin, to work. And so it's very important that we have them there for our state.
I would say with all of the extra supports and the funding, this is probably a wonderful time to go into childcare. There's reward stipends after you've been in for 6 months right now. There's a Teach Scholarship. They have a Choir for Hire for programs.
Finding ways to connect folks to providers. We have an update form that we send every month to providers to update if they have openings for children.
People can interact with us in 3 different tiers of service. Tier 1 is a basic information sharing, and that information is shared in newsletters and via online trainings. Tier 2 is slightly more engaged, in which they connect with a coach. It's also done virtually, so it doesn't matter where you live. And then in Tier 3, a more regional approach. So we do that in 21 counties of the state, primarily in the southern half of the state right now, in which you get all those other things, but you also get access to shared substitute teachers, shared bookkeepers, and business coaches who live in the communities that they're serving.
The Parenting Place is one of 9 childcare resource and referral organizations throughout the state of Wisconsin. We all offer similar services, but with that local connection so that we can really customize our services to the local communities that we serve.
We provide a lot of different services to help people that want to start their own childcare business. We have brand new providers who are just entering the field, and we have childcare providers that have been in the field for 30 plus years.
The Parenting Place and many other CCR&Rs offer continuing education in the form of professional development for providers. We start with the foundational courses, those entry-level courses that we can really customize and gear towards our providers in our classes. We then move into professional development that's more targeted for the needs of our providers, anywhere from challenging behaviors to nutrition to breastfeeding friendly practices. And then we go into that support. We run a monthly support group for family child care providers.
It can actually make a big difference for individuals. I mean, there is something to be said about just being recognized for the hard work that you do, but often these financial supplements make it the difference between having to go get a job somewhere else to be able to support their own families, or to not have to take that second job to support their own families.
Once you break it down piece by piece, it's not that difficult, but if you don't understand it or you haven't done childcare, a lot of it might sound overwhelming, and so we can help them break it up, and now there's so many more places that you can reach out to.
The early childhood community is very different from a lot of other workforces out there in that we do need each other, we need to support each other.
My name is Cindy Reineking, and I'm the owner of Cindy's Daycare, and I've been doing it since 2012. We wanted to have multiple children, and I wanted to be able to stay home with them, but also be able to financially support our family as well. So running an in-home daycare was just something that was somewhat natural. In running a business, specifically a childcare business, you have the obvious playing with the kids and things like that, but then there's also being a part of the food program. There's daily documentation that needs to happen for that, along with just kind of keeping track of receipts and income. When I have questions, the Parenting Place has been a phenomenal resource for me, and that can be questions relating to the business itself, to the children.
We provide a lot of different services to help people that want to start their own childcare business. We walk through the process with them step by step so that it is not overwhelming. We are available anytime they have questions. We help them find other resources if necessary.
Currently, I'm involved with the WISN program, and if there's anything I need, they're right there.
The Wisconsin Early Education Shared Services Network. It's a really long name, so we call it WISN. And the name sort of explains to some degree what we do. We connect early care and education programs together to capitalize on shared resources, shared staff, and shared information. Our resources, training, our business coaching, back office support really helps childcare providers save time and money in running the administrative side of their businesses.
I've learned a lot since I've started. I don't have any kind of business background, so there was a lot initially going into it, very overwhelming. However, if you just kind of take it one step at a time, I would learn one thing and that would kind of lead into another thing and led into another thing, and now, however many years later, I feel like it's a pretty smooth running business. Communication is a big aspect. So I do monthly newsletters, talk to the parents every day at drop off and pick up. But then there's also daily paperwork. I'm part of the food program. So there's daily documentation that needs to happen then. And then also just kind of keeping track of receipts and the income that I receive on a weekly basis. There's a number of different classes that you can take, anywhere from how to do all that paperwork and how to manage the business aspect, but then also being able to come up with age-appropriate activities and crafts and things like that.
The early childhood community is very different from a lot of other workforces out there in that we do need each other, we need to support each other. And the trainings not only offer like the actual information that's being given, but it gives people a chance to connect with others and get ideas from each other.
Getting into a new business can be really scary and overwhelming, but there is help out there.
You know, if we have somebody that comes in and they're new to the field, they don't have any of the training or any experience in childcare, we start with them where they're at.
Don't be scared to do it. There's always the help there.
I am Amanda Griswold. I am the Human Development Relationship Educator from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a division of Extension. We work throughout the state to provide education, resources for parents, caregivers, and early childhood educators so that all children reach their full potential. Just as roots stabilize and sustain a tree throughout its life, nurturing relationships with caring adults provide the essential support for children's growth and development, now and in the future.